Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a great show today. You know, you watch the show all the time, and you know we always talk about getting exposure for your company. And one way to do that, of course, is exhibit, is going to exhibitions, going to conferences, making sure that you get the exposure that your company deserves. And also, obviously, building a corporate environment is very important as well. And we love at .com Magazine going out to all the conferences. We're very thankful we get elected to speak at some of the conferences and sit on daises, of course. And when we go out to them, one thing that's very clear is that there's some companies that spend a great amount of time and detail and effort making sure that their message is coming across correctly at their exhibit booths. And of course, we love exhibit booths. I mean, and when we see a fine exhibit booth, something that really projects the brand, it really makes us understand that those people are taking great care in providing their potential clients something to think about, that they are a quality company. So we've been able to invite a real leader in this particular space on the show today. His name is Theron Whitney, and Theron is the vice president and co-founder of course, what else? Xibeo.com, Xibeo. And they specialize in custom exhibit booths. They've gotten into some other things, including video production and corporate environments. That's going very, very well for them. But before we get started, and I tell you everything about it, Theron, welcome to the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I mean, throughout the interview, we're going to show some of your work on the screen. It's magnificent. Everybody's talking about Xibeo. You're a real go-to expert. The entire team at Xibeo has done a great job. But before we get started, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet. Tell us what you're doing at Xibeo right now, and then we're going to have so many questions for you. You better be ready.
Okay. Well, actually, right this minute, this is the first time in over a year, we've had a minute to just take a break and breathe. We've been absolutely insanely busy, and now the trade shows have come back since about a 16-month shutdown due to the COVID pandemic. So we're back, the trade shows are back, and we are so busy that we're actually getting ready to expand and find a new space, another 10,000 square feet. So we're kind of doing multiple things at once here, trying to stay on top of it all.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this is for the people watching the show. You know, you hear this type of entrepreneurial journey all the time when people are doing so many things because business is going so well. You've got to wear so many different hats there. And of course, what you're doing at Xibeo is really, really sweet. Let's talk about the sweet spot for a second. I know you're doing some new things we're going to talk about, but what's the sweet spot at Xibeo? What's the area where most people or companies or chief growth officers or marketing people reach out to you and they say, Theron, we need some help here?
Sure. Well, right now, and actually what started Xibeo is we do a lot of custom rentals. So a lot of people don't want to spend the money to invest in a custom exhibit. It's very expensive to have built and transport and set up, store. So what we do is we cut the cost for companies by renting them something that looks custom, looks branded for them specifically, but it's a third of the cost. And then we also help them manage the shipping to the show and from. We manage the labor setup. So really all they have to do is just show up.
You see, that's fantastic because you want to click a button. I mean, we're in the click a button world. So here we are. I mean, you offer this rental opportunity and it takes a lot of the headaches away. You don't have to own your own stuff. You don't have to have it in your own warehouse and then ship it to the conference. You don't have to pay the unions and the labor at the conference. You handle it from soup to nuts at a third of the price. And that's really one of the secret sauces of Xibeo. And that's something that resonates for so many people. A company that does this rental, Theron, are they renting it just for one conference or can they rent it for multiple conferences?
Multiple. I've got clients that will do maybe 2, maybe 3 shows a year, and we've done some analysis for those companies where we design a booth that is portable enough in terms of how compact it ships, that it's cheaper to rent for them 3 times a year than to ship their own older booth that was heavier, was more complicated to set up. So we're actually saving, in that particular case, we're saving the client probably $6,000 to $10,000 a year, depending on where the shows are being held.
Yeah, it's awesome. Of course, you have a great team at Xibeo. Let's talk about the team. I mean, you have artists and you have people that put things together and people working on CAD and people that are doing the shipping. I mean, and then they've got the customer service and support people. How important, Theron, is your team to the success of what's happening at Xibeo right now?
Well, I would say in just the past year, and again, you have to keep in mind, COVID kind of eliminated a lot of our staff because we had to let them go. So it's been kind of a growth experience over the last 2 years as we rebuild the staffing that we had. So now we have probably, 5 to 6 in our fabrication area, 2 to 3 that are dedicated just to store fixtures and retail environments, whereas the rest are doing trade show exhibits. We've got 4 that do the builds, the setups, and then we have a couple of project managers that assist on managing the projects. And then my partner and I, we do most of the sales and find the solutions for clients.
Yeah, I love it there. Let's talk about it a little bit. A company reaches out. They've heard about this rental program that you've sort of revolutionized in this space. And of course, they say, hey, I've got a logo. I have some branding. Can you help us sort of with the way it looks and feels? What level of assistance can you help in that regard for your potential clients?
Well, I bring 30 years of experience in trade show marketing, trade show booth design. And so I kind of try to keep it down to a few basic questions to help understand or help me understand what a customer's needs are. And I'll go from what their website looks like to what their logo looks like, the colors that are used for their branding, and then try to get into the nuts and bolts and what do they want to achieve at the show? What is the goal at the trade show? You know, are they selling? Are they just getting their message out there? And then we kind of develop a concept around those basic parameters. And I would say 9 times out of 10, we can usually hit it right on the first go and give them a design that they like, and then maybe they want to tweak it a little bit. And that's the beauty of what we do, is we don't really have a kit that you have to choose from. We will customize, we will design to fit that customer's needs.
Yeah, I love it there. And of course, the customization is so important. What's the time frame? What's the turnaround? Somebody calls you, you know, a lot of these people, they call and they say, maybe I've got something coming up. I'm so freaked out. I don't have anything and I need something. How fast can you turn something around in your process at Xibeo?
Well, that's kind of a tricky question because we've been known to pull miracles. So, I mean, the most recent, and I'm not saying this is what people should do, but we had somebody wait to the last minute who needed a 400 square foot exhibit, and we were able to create a custom solution rental in about a week. And in our industry, that's unheard of because we're custom building with wood, laminate, extruded aluminum, powder coating, printing graphics. But we can do that. I don't like to do that. There's always the chance of something not working properly. But ideally, people want to give at least 4 to 6 weeks minimum on any kind of project that's 400 square feet or more. And of course, a larger project, and we have people doing this, they'll give us 6 months, which is fantastic. You know, if you have something that's 2,500 square feet, you want to get as much time as possible so you get all the details right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And custom builds for this space, they could take upwards of a year or more for some of the bigger companies. I mean, it's Absolutely. Incredible. Now, Theron, when we think about it, what are some of the reasons why people go to an exhibit or go to a trade show? Are most of the people looking to just get the branding out there? Are they trying to sell a product or service? Are they trying to collect the name of a potential customer? Are they trying to interact with people and give out cards? What's the main reason why people come to these exhibits or these trade shows?
Now, let me qualify that with a question. Are you meaning the attendee or the exhibitor?
Let's talk about the exhibitor. What's their main goal? Is there one? Or maybe it's just all around the board because so many companies have so many different needs and methodologies or methods to their madness that they reach out to you and they say, hey, Theron, perhaps we want to collect leads, or we want to get the branding out there, or we want to have our salespeople have face-to-face interactions. Is there one or the other that's more important or more prolific, I guess?
Well, that depends on the exhibitor. So I deal with both new exhibitors and people who've been doing this 20, 30 years. So everybody has a different need. So the new exhibitor is going to want to get their message out there. They're going to want people to get to know their brand and what they have to offer. And a trade show environment is the perfect place to get that message out there rather than any other marketing, because you're having a face-to-face interaction with all the buyers, whoever they are across the board. When you're dealing with business to business, the trade show environment is all buyers grouped together in one location for 2 to 3 days, and you've got their undivided attention. So if you're new to whatever it is that you're trying to sell or promote, the trade show is where you make a big splash. Now, the company that's been around for a long time, maybe they want to promote, I've got something new. I've got this new feature. We've improved our company. And so it's more of the face-to-face interaction with buyers to say, hey, you've known us for 10, 15 years, now we've got something new, or we're doing things differently, and here's what we're doing. So you've got these different ways that you want to interact with people, but the primary solution for customers who want to get out there is the trade show itself is where you can interact with everybody. And they've tried to duplicate it in different ways, especially during COVID with the virtual trade shows. It was a miserable failure. People just did not like it. They liked the face-to-face and where you can kick the tires, so to speak, and play with the product or touch it and look at it or taste it, whatever your industry is.
Yeah, I love that. I have a customer. I have a customer approach that I love face-to-face. Here we are on Zoom, but I love that face-to-face interaction because you get to see the body language. You get to see the way in which they're really feeling about it. And of course, a lot of communication is through the body, not so much what you say. So when you're face-to-face, you get that good interaction. As a trade show offering, it's really a great idea to take some notes on the customers as well. And when you meet someone, make some notes about the way they're thinking, the way they're feeling, so that when you follow up, you'll know and remember that interaction that you've had. Now, everybody knows that watches the show, Theron. I love what we call corporate environments. When I walk into a company and I see that first impression, that's very important to me. Let's talk about this corporate environment program that now you've put into place. It's very interesting. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give you an example. A customer that used to go to a travel goods show and to sell suitcases, handbags, they would go to that trade show every year religiously, sell their product. It was great for them. COVID, of course, they didn't end up going to shows. And then they found that it was actually better to bring customers to their location. And we just this year finished creating 3 different showrooms for them so that they can have a captive audience at their headquarters, and they have this custom designed environment to appeal to the buyers, and they have the ability to have those conversations without any distractions. So I think more and more people are seeing the value of having customers come to their location, have a custom design showroom that's got the splash, got the wow, or even just a lobby that continues to tell the branding with light boxes or maybe custom display cases, something like that. So there's a lot more people starting to go towards that direction.
Yeah, I really like the wow factor. And we always talk about it. You only get one chance to make a first impression. So when somebody walks in that door and now you're controlling the environment, you're controlling the messaging, you're controlling the package, you're controlling the branding. And for example, Xibeo comes in and they help control that. It puts you in the best position to provide your potential client the idea of what this is all about. And of course, if you have a schlocky entrance or a schlocky corporate environment, they're going to think immediately, this is a schlocky company and I don't want to do business with them. So it's so important. And the money that's spent as an investment in your corporate environment is so important. It just brings an incredible ROI, because when you invite those people into your environment and they see now that this is a company that takes great care in their quality, takes great care in their message, people know that you're going to take care of them as well as you take care of your own environment, which is one of the secrets of Xibeo's success in the corporate environment. Now, you're also doing some messaging for the companies as well. You're involved with some video production, and you're doing some other things that are also helping your clients as well. Let's get into some of that, and let's keep it rolling.
Sure. So again, going back to COVID, we had to pivot and reinvent ourselves. So we came up with a solution of video marketing where we turned our showroom into a studio, and I had connections with cameramen and studio. Since we're here in California and Hollywood is only an hour away from us, I have a lot of friends who have been in the industry. And so we said, well, while we were all shut down, let's continue with helping clients with their marketing. And we created a video marketing solution where we can give you 4K quality video. We've got voiceover actors. We've got other talent. If you don't want to be on the screen, we've got spokespersons who can be there and talk about the product. But then we also did something where you don't see much of this, where we could have live broadcasting on YouTube or Facebook Live, again, with 4K studio quality video. And you can reach out, as we're doing now, with a video presentation and not have a trade show. You can do your presentation to a group of people who are stuck in the office or maybe at home, and you've got their attention because you've got the video running at all times throughout the day, throughout the year. And that is an approach that some clients have really gravitated towards, which is great. Just gives us another opportunity to help customers with their branding.
Yeah, I love it, Theron. I would imagine in your customizable rental business, I could very well imagine a client reaching out to you and they say, Theron, listen, we love this idea of the rental. We've got 3 exhibits coming up. One's in March, one's in June, one's in September. We want you to put the program together for us. We want to pay you and not lift a finger and have it, they're all put together beautiful when I get there. Can you also maybe add a video or, add a television where we can show a little bit about our offering? Is that something that you also offer at Xibeo?
Yeah, exactly. So you have a lot of people who maybe have a video on loop for 1 or 2 minutes. We can help provide that and produce it and create it. So you can kind of come to us and we are a one-stop shop. We do just about everything related to your trade show.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk a little bit about the genesis. As you know from watching the show and the people watching the show, I'm very interested in the way things start, the way things progress, the way things germinate. So can you take me back to when you and your co-founder started thinking about Xibeo, and what was sort of the aha moment that you said, hey, we've got to do this thing because we think we can do it better than everybody else in the universe?
So my partner and I met in the trade show industry and in 98. And we worked together for a few years and found that we worked very well together. Perfect symbiosis. And we thought, well, instead of helping other people make money and run their business, which we were doing, we thought we might as well do it for ourselves. And this happened right around 9/11. So that was another factor that affected trade shows. So people weren't traveling, they weren't going to trade shows in September, October of 2001. And we were out of work, essentially. So we said, well, if we're going to be out of work, we might as well not pay ourselves and just do it for ourselves. And so we quit our jobs and started up Xibeo about a month later, 2 months later in November, and started to build up our clientele. And we had contacts that knew us, and when they heard we were doing our own thing, they just gravitated towards us. And we just slowly started to build by word of mouth, going to one show to the next, just really doing hands-on personal service. And that just kind of helped us grow, so that we for the first 5 years, we were dealing with maybe 15 to 20% growth every year over year. So that just gave us a really big push. And for some reason, we really seem to thrive when tragedy strikes. So the recession happened, and we were able to manage to get through that because of our rental program, our custom rental program. That year, that's all we did. And that got us through the worst of the recession. And that also took out a lot of exhibit houses that didn't have custom rentals as a solution. So as the recession ended and trade shows were coming back, people wanted to invest more. We kind of suffered the last man standing syndrome, and people heard that this is what we can do, and we were still around. And since then, it's been just constant growth, and it's been really nice. We've been very blessed.
Yeah, it's so awesome that you've found this space in the market, and with your background and experience, I mean, years, decades of experience, so people can really lean on you for that expertise, as well as not only someone that offers this custom exhibit booth and the video production and the corporate environments, but also someone that they can learn from almost as a mentor in the exhibit booth space. I notice a whiteboard behind you, and of course, that makes me think about what we always talk about, that you have to plan, you have to strategize, and I want to talk about entrepreneurship. And again, thank you so much for cutting some time out today. This has been awesome, bringing us inside what you've done and the remarkable success story of the path of Xibeo. But before I let you go, I want to talk about entrepreneurship. I want to give back to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, Theron, because they're listening to this story, and maybe they're in a moment of time in their business. Maybe they're hitting a wall. Maybe they're freaking out a little bit in the frame, I call it. Maybe they can't get above the wall, around the wall. Maybe they're locked in and they don't know what to do. For the entrepreneurs watching the show that are maybe having a tough time right now, Theron, can you share some insight about what it takes to keep on pushing and keep on going and getting through those difficult walls we all face as an entrepreneur?
I think it comes down to customer service. My experience started off in retail, and retail dealing with the public is very hard. And the solution to that was to get your customers to keep coming back. And the only way that you can do that, the only way to maintain that sales flow, is to keep customers happy. And you've got yourself in a situation where you want to be ethical, you want to be telling the truth, and my partner and I call it being good kids. So you always want to do the right thing for your customers. Sometimes it may not benefit you personally or your company, but it helps the client. And that's what's important at the end of the day, is you do what you need to do to help your client. And if you're the hero for your client, they will absolutely come back to you time and time again. And you will develop a relationship or rapport with them that could last decades, as we have. That's our success story, is that we have clients that we've known for 20 some years, and they always come back because they know they can count on us and trust us.
I love it. I speak to so many entrepreneurs, so many startup founders, and they say, Andy, I've got this great technology and I'm building it on AI, and I've got this and I've got that. And they give me their big elevator pitch, which actually is not even an elevator pitch. It's a half hour of them talking about how great their technology is. And I listen for 30 minutes and they never talk about the customer. They never talk about the client. And I think that's really the most important thing for the entrepreneurs watching the show. Rewind what Theron just said. I mean, one of the secrets of success these days that people forget about is to be customer centric, to take care of the customers. And that's why you and the team have done such a great job. This has been a great interview. I want to bring you back on the show. I know you've got a lot of things coming, around the corner that you're unveiling and uncovering for all your clients. And we're going to talk about that, down the road a bit. But I love the space. I love the exhibit space, the conference space. And of course, I love the corporate environment space. And you're leading the pack in so many different ways, Theron. You and your team at Xibeo, I want to thank you so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today and bringing us inside what you've done and your entrepreneurial journey.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it.